There is a great feeling to be envied by all when parent-to-child relationships respond as they should. When a promising relationship turns caustic and there is nowhere back to civility, problems may arise. Some of those problems bring with them very deadly consequences. Parricide is the definition given when a child kills their parent. In America, 6 of these cases occur each week with no letup in sight. Join us here each month as we bring you these unbelievable cases where everybody loses and nobody wins. This is the Parricide story of Isabella Guzman, a 17-year-old daughter who killed her 47-year-old mother, Yoon Mi Hoy, because she held a grudge against her. In life, some unlucky parents unintentionally birth their own murderers. And this is the true story of Isabella Guzman, an 18-year-old daughter who killed her 47-year-old mother, Yoon Mi Hoy, because she held a grudge against her. And this nightmare story ended on the night of August the 28th, 2013 in Aurora, Colorado. But it had hit a fevered pitch just one day before the tragic event. That was the day Isabella Guzman emailed her mother the message, "You will pay." And later she spit in her face on the day before she killed her. This prompted the mother to call police later that day to come out to the house because her daughter had threatened to harm her. And if you ever had teenage children or somebody who wants to harm you, you might have been through this before. The officers responded to the domestic disturbance, arrived at the home, and spoke with the mother and daughter, who warned Guzman that her mother could kick her out of the home if she did not shape up. Hours later, officers returned to that home at 2624 South Lima Street in Aurora, Colorado, to find Yoon Mi Hoy dead in an upstairs bathroom. Now let's get to the case facts. Guzman and her mother often fought, but the teenager had become more threatening and disrespectful towards Yoon Mi in recent days. Her stepfather, Ryan Hoy, told authorities. Now, Miss Hoy had grown so scared of her daughter that she called on her ex-husband, Isabella's father, Robert Guzman, to speak to the young girl. But it's bad when you have to call an ex-spouse to come in and you're newly married to somebody else. The father said he went to talk with Isabella at his ex-wife's request about 3 hours before the killing at the home where Isabella lived with her mother. The father indicated Isabella had been engaging in teen rebelliousness, and Isabella Guzman had long dropped out of the Overland High School, he said. He said, "I went to talk to her because her mother was worried and wanted me to talk to Isabella. So I went to talk to Isabella, and we sat down in the backyard looking at trees and the animals, and I started to talk to her about the respect that people need to be given. He wanted to get across to her that she is your mom, respect her as that. He said, and I was trying to let her know that she should be obedient to her parents, not rebellious, that she should try to listen more, and everything was going to be just fine if she had only listened to him that day." Now, Mr. Guzman says of that encounter, "I thought that I made progress, but obviously it didn't do nothing, because hours later, this thing happened," he said. It's still unclear what exactly her mother was worried about, but neighbors report calling the police in the past when they saw men jumping over the fence into the family's backyard. Now, these are young men her same age, right? Those men were later discovered to be Isabella's boyfriends, paying her a visit by not using the front door of the residence for what is to be believed as a booty call. Teenage girl, watch out for the little dogs coming your back door, right? In the twilight hours of Wednesday night, the teen stepfather, Ryan Hoy, said his wife was attacked as she went to take a shower in an upstairs bathroom. The stepfather told police he was eating his dinner downstairs, right? Then he heard a thumping sound upstairs and his wife calling out his name in a very loud, horrific shrill. The stepfather said he rushed upstairs. He heard the shower running and tried to push his way through the closed bathroom door. He said he caught a glimpse of Isabella. What she did was she pushed the door shut with her back, he said. and then she locked it. So this girl is going to kill her mother in his presence on the other side of a door that he can't get into. So Mr. Ryan Hoy said he saw blood seeping from under the bathroom door and ran to get his cell phone and called 911, telling the operator that he believed his wife was being attacked. Duh, do you think so? This is like a horrific movie. The stepfather then rushed back to the bathroom with 911, still on the phone, and heard his wife scream out, Jehovah, which is the same as God, right? And that was the last words he ever heard her utter. So she's screaming out to God as she's about to die from this, her own daughter. He said, then the bathroom door opened and Isabella calmly walked out holding a knife downward in her right hand. He said Isabella never said a word and stared straight ahead as she walked past him and went downstairs. I believe she would have got a tackle from me.
You're watching M&N, the Men's Channel.
Ryan Hoy said he looked into the bathroom and saw the naked body of his wife covered in blood on the floor. Her throat had been slashed and a baseball bat was lying under her body. But that was not the limit of her injuries, just the beginning. Following 911 dispatcher's instructions, Ryan Hoy then tried to open his wife's airway and perform CPR. When officers arrived on the scene, they found Yumi Hoy lying naked on the bathroom floor, covered in blood, next to a baseball bat. Now, an autopsy found that she had suffered 31 stabs to the face, 48 stab wounds to the neck, for a total of 79 lacerations. You stabbed your mother 79 times. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The stepfather said Isabella Guzman took the knife and fled the home clad only in a pink athletic bra and turquoise shorts. Now, when Isabella ran away, she apparently stopped at a nearby shop not too far from the house. To the shopkeeper, she said that she was a rape victim and didn't want to return home. She also told the shopkeeper to not call the police. Now, with her looks and appeal, the shopkeeper fell for it and allowed her to go back to the shop to use the bathroom to wash her hair and change her clothes. Now, isn't it amazing women use men knowing that they feel bad for a rape victim this way? Isabella wasn't tracked down until near noon the next day after someone called about 11:30 a.m. to report a body inside a car in a parking garage at 2851 South Parker Road near East Hampton Avenue. Now, arriving officers found the car, but no one was inside. So this was a parking garage under this rather large building. They did find items in the car, however, that led them to believe these items were related to the earlier homicide. She was sleeping in her car when somebody thought she was dead. Police called in undercover officers to help search the garage, and additional items were found that were believed to be involved in homicide as well. So she kept these things. She should have just thrown them out. A police K-9 team joined the search. Now, at one point, Guzman was seen by officers walking out of the garage. She was then detained and taken to the headquarters. So she was going to protect herself after killing her own mother. In a lot of these cases, as murder on this channel, killer wives, whatever, people try to protect themselves after murder. Glenn Petty, who works in a nearby office building, said his secretary drew his attention to the handler with the dog searching the parking garage outside. She said, "Come in, look at this." Petty said he saw a man dressed like a motorcycle gang member who turned out to be an undercover officer. And walking into the parking garage as a young woman walked out, so they passed each other. Petty said the man and the woman briefly spoke, and then she turned and walked away into the parking lot. So they knew she was there, but they didn't want to spook her automatically so she would harm herself or run away. Now, the first undercover officer followed a woman and was soon joined by two other plainclothes officers, and then they surrounded a young woman who was carrying a plastic shopping bag. Now, she ran outside to a bush, pictured here, and then suddenly all three officers pulled guns and the woman sat down next to a bush on a raised parking lot median, as seen in this photo. Guzman appeared the next day before Arapahoe County Judge Stephen F. Collins, who ordered her to remain jailed without bond on suspicion of first-degree murder. Yes, you killed your mother. This ain't gonna be a traffic ticket. You're going away for a long time. Now, in court, she sat silently in an orange jumpsuit, a bandage on her right wrist, where she had actually injured herself. Now, the 18-year-old suspected of stabbing her mother 79 times in the face and neck appeared in court to be formally charged with the murder. Isabella Guzman smiled briefly at the beginning of the hearing as she listened to her attorney and the judge go back and forth about the case. And the judge informed her she will be facing 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of crime of violence as sentence-enhancing charge. So a sentence-enhancing charge gets you what? More than just life in prison. Guzman listened intently as the judge started reading the complaint against her. And towards the end of her hearing, Guzman's eyes began tearing up as she looked into the camera and pointed to her eyes as if to draw attention to that fact. She was also making a face at the camera, so she was messing around with the court reporters who had cameras. In a minute, we'll show you that video. Now, Guzman, who turned 18 in June, will be charged as an adult and is eligible for the death penalty. Here is a copy of that video. Within a week after the murder outside Guzman's home, there were 2 dumpsters in the front yard filled with stuffed animals, jewelry, and other belongings of the murderer's daughter. The father threw all of the stuff out. Get her out of here. There was also a picture of young Guzman on the ground by the dumpster, so he really didn't care anymore. You're done with this girl. It was said of Guzman that if there is a murder suspect stereotype, Guzman doesn't look the part. And the thing about it in society, we get fooled by young children, male or female, that they could never do this, and she did. The teen who goes by the nickname Isa looks like a beauty queen or model in photos on her Facebook page. Her page has a photo of her, of a watermelon slice with the word love carved into it. Now, there also is a photo of her wearing a Hello Kitty t-shirt and jeans standing in front of a rock band set from a singing competition. So you could have 2 different personalities. Now, Robert Guzman said his ex-wife owned Bella's portrait studio at the town center, which was a mall at Aurora, and often worked long 12-hour days. His daughter said sometimes worked at that particular studio with her. Now, she was really a hard-working woman, he said, of his ex-wife. She tried really hard for her family, but Isabella didn't appreciate anything she did for her. Now, Isabella Guzman Aurora pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Big shock. Now, a judge accepted a plea sending Guzman to the Colorado Mental Health Institute at Pueblo. As the case unfolded, in the summer of 2014, doctors told the court Guzman was schizophrenic and had suffered highly disturbing delusions for years. He told the court Guzman did not believe her mother was in fact her mother. So she's somebody else, right? He testified Guzman believed she was killing a woman named Cecilia in order to save the world. So this girl is all of a sudden an avenger. At the time, Barker said Guzman would stay at the state hospital until she was no longer a threat to herself or the community, which could be days or for the rest of her natural life. 7 years later, she gave an interview on TV to one of the major news networks, pleading for her release, saying that since she's been on her medication, she is fit to go into society. For MNN and Parricide, we thank you for watching.